All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It is what, July 22nd, Wednesday. So we've got our Wednesday meet the school members, but we don't have a new school member. Both of these are regulars. As you see, Lauren is not here this week. She's going to be taking a break for a few weeks. She has a lot on her plate, but I do have someone else with long hair joining us. I got Curtis to replace since school is out of session. So good morning, fellas. How's everything going?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yep. So before we dig into things, dig into a clip. I know Curtis, you had a lot of events going on recently too, right? You've been helping out at. So what's going on in your world right now?
Yeah, so this month I helped with the Washington Real Estate Investing Group's mobile home master class. While I don't own any mobile home parks, it was really cool to kind of be a part of the group, and kind of see a whole different side of investing. And then also did two home buying uh, classes virtually in this month. That was pretty cool. Got about six people to actually show up, which is always a scary part.
So I say good morning to everyone tuning in. I see Craig, Flavio. I see Christine here, who will actually be joining us next week, Thursday. Though she's that's her only day off. She says so she'll be sharing her story next week, Thursday. I also want to tell everyone I apologize for yesterday's live stream. We had to pivot. Dr. Joe Asamoah was having technical difficulties, so we troubleshooted that. So we'll be live streaming. Gus and I will be live streaming with Dr. Joe tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So tune in for that one. He does a lot of Section 8 in the DC area. Joe, did I connect? Were you on last week after, I forget, from returning from Seattle from the live event? Where you were, right?
I was, yeah, last Tuesday I
All
was,
right, all
yeah.
right. Okay. So where's the
Or
next
Wednesday.
in person? Oh, your video with Jeff and Suleika did drop on YouTube. So if anyone wants to check that out, he met up with them in Colorado and they did an in person interview. Jeff and Suleika spoke year two, I believe. But yeah, when's the next in person stuff going on then?
Yeah, I don't have that figured out yet, but I'm working on it. So we'll see.
Cool. So yeah, you know what? Like I said, Jeff Suleika, what 10 house hacks, I believe, is what they're up to right now. So definitely on the path to financial freedom. Do I have technical difficulty? Are you taking a jab at me, Alex, or is something really going on with my audio? But let me know if you're being serious. But hold on, let me play this clip. I want to kind of touch on this. So the topic initially is kind of buy before you say I do, right? So let's play this clip real quick.
Don't get married until you buy a house. What do you mean by that?
There's a loan called FHA loan, 3.5% down, and you get up to 4 units. You could have bad credit, you can have debt. It's just one of those aggressive loans. What you have to do is the boyfriend, you buy 4 units FHA, and then you tell your girlfriend, I'm not gonna marry you until you get your 4 units FHA. Then after that, then you get married, and now you have 8. Once you get married, you only qualify for one FHA loan as a married couple. So you will only get up to 4 units. So you get 4 and 4. And then if you're married, you could get divorced, buy 4 units each, and then get married again.
I'll take it a step further.
So we'll kind of cut it off a little bit there before it gets too long. But yeah, I know Curtis got to take a look at it. Joe, I mean, after talking with Jeff and Suleika, did it just kind of hit home with you? What about this video, this clip? What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, they make it sound so simple. I mean, but in actual reality, it kind of is, because the biggest thing that I look at for myself was when I bought my first house was fear, right? Fear. I'm in a sales job. What if I don't make money? Am I going to be able to make my mortgage payment? And I think the same thing applies for a lot of the people that are in their 20s and 30s that are first-time home buyers. And I want to ask Curtis that question as well. What's stopping people? But my thought is that if you buy FHA 4 units, it's going to be a higher purchase price. You're going to need to have a little bit more down payment than if you were just buying maybe a lower price single family house. But then you've got 3 renters to be able to support the mortgage payment. So, I mean, literally someone else is subsidizing your mortgage payment. And so that does take some of the fear, at least in my opinion, of the finances out of it. Obviously, dealing with tenants is a whole, animal, and maybe somebody doesn't want to do that and take on that challenge. So there's more on that side of it. But I'm surprised that more people aren't doing it, to be frank.
Yeah, I think the idea is great. I think the issue that you're going to run into, or the thing is like, okay, well, how do I come up with a down payment, right? Each of us are in a different market. Joe, I think people in St. Louis can buy a house for $5, but, but
Wow.
in Seattle, like in Pierce County, the fourplexes go for around 800 to 900K. So someone would need about $30,000 down, and so I could see that being the mental hurdle of, okay, well, how do I even save up that much?
What's interesting is that clip is with Albert. I forget his last name, Prussianato, and he's in California. I follow his stuff for a long time. He's got a big following. He does a little bit of production, nothing too crazy, but I think he's maybe in LA. Yeah, he's in LA. So a multifamily in LA is 2 million, 1.5 million. So yeah, I mean, the down payment money you need for that is going to be ginormous compared to a Midwestern city like St. Louis. $5, more like, I don't know, 300,000, 400,000 maybe. So pretty close to $5. So yeah.
I do want to say good morning to Billy Jackson. He is in the Eureka area, California, but he says he saw that video Joe put out. It was a good one. So everyone, like I said, go check out Joe's channel. There is him and Curtis are both live streaming also right now. So jump over there. But Joe just dropped his video, his in person with Jeff and Suleika, who are a big part of the One Rental at a Time community. Billy also adds in, my brother and sister both plan on the double FHA with their respective partners. I got married early, so we only got one. So I kind of want to, like Joe, you kind of jumped right into maybe the house hacking FHA portion of it. I think I want to kind of go all the way to it might have got cut off a little bit on the beginning of the clip, but initially it was kind of buy a home, before you get married kind of thing, right? So I think Curtis is the one in that kind of situation a little more than we smart enough to do it at our younger age, Joel. But Curtis, is that kind of something that you just happened, that you bought a home intentionally before you got married, or was it just something that happened?
Well, it was easier to buy a house than it is to find a girl. So that's kind of how I found my way. But no, I think it's good to kind of have a good foundation before you try to support, a family, right? And so that's kind of like my view on it. I did think the clip was kind of interesting, where he's like, if you don't buy, I won't marry you. I think that might be a bit extreme. I think that conversation can probably be handled with more respect there, but I like the idea, and maybe it doesn't even have to be like a fourplex. Now that'd be ideal, right? But to tell someone, hey, you got to save up 30 grand, that might be a tough, right? Whereas if they can just get like a single family for way less, that might be more doable depending on what market.
Yeah, I do see a few people saying the hack though is marrying wealthy, finding a wealthy partner first, and that will solve all your problems, right? So that definitely is one way to go about it. But Joe, I guess the other thing, talking with Jeff and Suleika, I think that is I gotta say the most unique part, right? Is finding a partner that is probably willing to do that many house hacks, right? I can see maybe one to get to 10. I think that's very unique. So what was your kind of takeaway from that as far as okay, I'll just say it. I think Suleika would be the one that you'd have to convince more to doing the house hack, right? Or the female in the relationship, right? So like how unique was that, and what was that experience talking to her and her where she's coming from willing to do these many house hacks?
Yeah, I mean, think about, like, I'm going to give you an analogy. Like, when's the last time an NBA team has repeated as a champion? It's been it's been not since Golden State with the Dream Team, and then Kobe and Paul Gasol in 08, not 2009, 10. It's like so many teams have not repeated, right? You get through the glory, you put all the hard work in the offseason, and you fight, and then you get to the championship, and then boom, it's hard to come. It's a long season. It's hard to come back. So you put all that work in, but it's hard to repeat. And so listening to their story as a husband and wife living in one room and then sharing a bathroom with 3 single dudes. Like that's crazy to me as a female, which again, I don't know what that's like. But to do that one and then to do it again and then again and again, I mean, you would think maybe after a couple that they would probably pivot and probably get to more of a spacious, maybe take the entire floor and then only rent out the basement. But they did that like 9 times, 9 or 10 times, like where they were literally sharing a bathroom. And so they didn't take the foot off the gas pedal, which that's the part that I think is so unique. Maybe it's easier to do 1 or 2, but to live in those conditions, like I mean, Curtis, when you were living in a 200 square foot place,
Yeah.
Imagine if you went through 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. I mean, at some point you're probably going to take the foot off the gas pedal, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah, you
know.
get
I,
more
I was
space.
so excited to have laundry and kitchen and a shower, and I feel like I'm in a life of like luxury.
People may not have seen it because after Gus just tuned in, so now we're canceled. But as soon as Gus has joined, my algorithm has gone down, or my analytics. But maybe people didn't see the clip that I put out from last week, which was a lot of fun. You and Gus were both on. But Curtis, I put out a clip of you talking about kind of your first house hack on how you were just laying in bed, like what the did I do? I have a floating shower with no supports, and what's going on here, right? So I think that's the big point. So can you touch on that a little bit again?
Yeah, yeah. And so when I had closed on my first house hack, it was like right before school was about to get started. I was in my master's program, so I was planning for my teaching job. I was doing my master's program. I was trying to be a landlord for the first time. I got the shower that's floating. I'm like sitting there like, what the hell am I doing, man? Like my life it felt like in shambles, but it was worth it. It was the best decision that I ever made. Um, I see Brady's comment there about he wouldn't buy with 3.5% down. I'm so glad that I did, though. It turned 14 grand plus some rehab into 100, right? And so that ROI I can't find in the stock market.
So Joel kind of like I said, so I showed what Brady put. Personally, I wouldn't buy with only a 3% down, but I can see how that would help a lot of people that don't have a lot for a down payment. Just don't like that risk of low equity. So you are a lender, and this is not lending advice or financial advice, but what hypothetically do you see maybe a lot of clients or people that contact you, like, how would you run them to that scenario of possibly putting 3.5% down? And
I mean, obviously you have the dollars and cents behind it, right? I mean, either you have the money or you don't, or maybe you're getting gifted funds to help with down payment. But I look at it more like if somebody's going to go buy a house, they've decided in their mind, I am going to go do this. People that aren't going to buy a house clearly don't want to do it. And so I think the majority of people, once you decide I'm going to go buy a house, regardless of how much money you have saved up or in reserves, like you're going to just figure it out. When things get tight, you figure it out. You tighten up the budget, and that's what I see personally. Is that once you decide, like you just figure it out. So now, if you're somebody who has, say enough money to put down 10%, and now you're going to decide, hey, I'm only going to put down 3.5% and keep my money in my own pocket and whatever accounts versus putting more money down. That's semantics to me. The money's somewhere. So I don't know. That's just my take on it.
kind of to that point, you saying, if someone reaches out to you about purchasing a home, they kind of have this vision or plan in place, right? So Yasik does add in, this is from the marriage, couple standpoint. He says, I think it's easier when both have a very clear goal and steps to get to it, right?
Well, I'm laughing because, I mean, Curtis, you said earlier, it's easier to buy a house than it is to find a girl. So to find a girl who's also on the same plane for house hacking, like that's like 1 in a billion or 1 in 100 million. I don't know. I don't know if that's even really likely.
Yeah, you don't hear many stories. I think there's the FI couple there in New York, and then PTO for life. But you don't hear a lot of other ones. I mean, I guess the lumberjack. Okay, but that's 3 couples out of how many couples that we all know?
Yeah, I think even I can see a lot of people doing one, and then it's kind of hard to get get on board for the second one. I think that's the challenge. But to see people do it multiple times, I mean, that's the impressive part. And it looks like the chat section on Restream is now frozen. So now I just let me see. I can see chats coming in on YouTube. That's why. Let's
But
see.
I will say though is because I know PTO's life their story a bit. There might be some things that you could sell a person on um, to get to do multiple house acts. Like for example, I think they ate out a lot. They're like, hey, we're saving all this money and we don't have to cook, right? Because we share the space and we don't have to cook. So let's go to our favorite food spots, right? So they made it as enjoyable as they could because the in-house was a little tough.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. I think even Emily touches on that also. So Emily's the Friday live stream guest, and just a reminder, everyone, her, Gus, and Cody are starting to live stream on Tuesdays now at 6 a.m. Pacific. But Emily's gonna kick off day one
6 a.m.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Pacific. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. So Gus is a influencer now, so he does like that, and he does mine at 11 a.m. Eastern, and then he kind of, I think he records for his. So people haven't seen also, Gus posted on social media, I believe he had a heavy hitters on his most recent Behind the Doors that are not sure when that one's going to drop, but he did have Michael Zuber on, Rod Khleif, and Gino, I forget the guy's last name, Gino something, but three heavy hitters in the real estate space. But let me see. I was gonna, yeah, like I said, the chat section. Oh, here it is. Harrison says I would only do a 3.5% if I was house hacking to offset the high payments. So maybe touch on that a little bit. How does house hacking offset the high payment of purchasing a home?
Joel?
What do you? I thought we already talked about it. What do you mean?
Well, so Harrison is just saying I would only do a 3.5% if I was house hacking to offset the high payments.
So if he wasn't house hacking, then he would do 5% conventional. So I don't know. I mean,
Well, that's in reference to kind of Brady's earlier comment about saying he wouldn't do a 3.5% because of low equity, but he can kind of see why someone would do it because getting the rental income from a 4-unit, right, helps you qualify for the property and offset the higher payment on a mortgage, right?
I mean, to me, the difference between 3.5% down and 5% down is such a marginal difference that it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. I mean, if you have good credit scores, you're going to have lower PMI potentially by doing conventional. So there's maybe a benefit there, but the difference doesn't make that big of a difference in my opinion.
Let's see. Here's Billy Jackson says, personally, I feel like that first one has to be a stretch for most people. If you can save the down payment, you can pay the mortgage.
Yeah, I recently did a video kind of comparing the different property types here in Pierce County using like the median rent and like the median price points and things like that. Where I live, kind of the triplex is the one where it starts to make the most sense. If you're gonna just live in the unit by yourself, you're like, hey, I don't want to do the roommate things. I don't want to Airbnb the rooms or short-term rental this. As soon as you got to the triplex, you were paying less than it cost to rent a room in our area, and so that was kind of like the magic spot. And then if you went to a fourplex, you actually started to cash flow a bit.
Yasik says there is a price to get to financial freedom that most will never even attempt to pay it, but will have millions of excuses and reasons why not them, but others succeed. Why not them, but others? Yeah. Frank is saying, seems like more people might take advantage of FHA Using the example in the video, if the info were more readily available or promoted, it's what is that? It's
The yeah, it's
first
the
time
first.
I'd heard it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think if you are with the right team, then you probably would have gotten this. Because in the home buying class that I teach, we actually talk about like the differences between how you file and like the impact that that can have. But if you're watching like mainstream real estate stuff, you may not see it.
Okay, so Ike Hobbs says the more cash available, the better for me. If the asset cash flows at my target, then I take a loan for 0% equity if the bank would let me. Take the cash and roll on to the next project. Equity is fake until you actually sell it. And then Brady adds in equity is fake until you need it.
Mhm.
And so, if people haven't heard, Cody and Brady will be joining me on the live stream Monday. Cody is my regular guest, Cody Davis, and Brady. Cody and Brady are going to kind of discuss their strategies a little bit because they have different viewpoints on maybe paying down debt. So we're going to have a fun discussion on Monday. But what's your guys' maybe thoughts on that as far as maybe the wordplay where Ike is saying equity is fake until you actually sell it, and Brady's more standing equity is fake until you need it.
Hmm. Well, Joel, you see a lot of people that have to refinance or get a HELOC for some reason or another. What type of things have you seen where folks have went to use the equity that they thought they had, but it's not really there?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Dallas talking to Trisha Gonzalez, that topic came up and it hit pretty hard because a lot of people, bought houses in 23 and 24 and they're underwater right now. So I mean, they've lost their equity, and people that needed to sell, they're basically, doing short sales in that market. So it's all market driven. I mean, obviously the longer time frame you've been in the game, the more options you're going to have of appreciation and equity buildup. But you know, you can get a HELOC on a primary residence up to 95%, so you can tap into equity there. On a rental property, I mean, you're going to be capped at 75%. So it's tougher to pull money out of a pure rental property. So yeah, I mean, market values. I mean, like Austin's losing money, Florida. I mean, there's some markets that are just getting hurt pretty bad. So pulling money out is tougher in these places. So I mean, it just depends on time frame. I mean, it depends on the deal. And then if you're a fix and flipper, it's a whole different story because now you're forcing the appreciation and buildup of equity in the building, and so you can pull the money out. So I mean, I'm on the same page as Ike. When I was, buying more deals a few years back, I was always trying to figure out what's the minimum amount of money I can put into the deal and keep cash in my pocket for the next deal. That's how I operated, as long as the deal was still cash flow.
Yeah, yeah, or not even for the next deal, but for something to pop up. I feel like no matter what's in the inspection, what you see in the walkthrough, once you buy a property, I feel like something always happens, be it
Yeah.
a tenant turnover or something breaks, but then something happens, and so that's why when I get like concessions or something like that through a deal, I actually prefer to keep more cash in my pocket than do like a 2-1 buy down or something like that. I'm like, let me retain as much cash as I can for when that thing does pop up.
Yep.
So Marxist 12, I haven't seen you here before. Thanks for stopping by. I will also throw in Joel and Curtis's channel. They are also live streaming, so go check them out, please. But Marxist is asking, does the property have to cash flow after you move out the first house hack due to low down payment?
I personally wouldn't buy it if it didn't cash flow once I moved out. I kind of like having that security of knowing that, hey, once I'm gone, here's my expected numbers. Now, because you are coming in low down payment, at least in my market, it may not cash flow crazy, But as long as you're positive and there's enough spread for you to feel comfortable with, that's what I would recommend.
Let's see. There was a
And Joel, for you to go from one house hack to the next, it kind of needs the cash flow to help your DTI. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, depending on somebody's income level, because if you buy FHA, right, you can only have one FHA loan, as that video said. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. But yeah, when you buy the next property, you want to make sure your credit scores are good enough to be able to qualify. So typically you want to be over 700, because unconventional, you can use a proposed lease to offset the payment. So that will help you with your DTI. But yeah, I mean, you want to be able to at least break even on that payment, ideally. But again, somebody's income may be high enough where it doesn't matter. And so, like in your market, right? If you're gonna buy a multifamily, it's an appreciation play. Cash flow may be marginal to zero, right? But if you hold it for 5-10 years, you're gonna have that appreciation, build wealth for you. Same thing in Missouri. It's kind of in between. Like, you're gonna have that 2 to 3% appreciation. Cash flow is okay. My thought is always, okay, do whatever you can to increase income in your job, and just let time work for you. Just whatever you can do to break even on your stuff. That's my philosophy.
I see Charlie tuning in on Instagram. So Charlie attended year 2 Vegas event. He is in New Jersey area, but he says, Joe, do you regularly see 3.5% FHA working with self-sufficiency testing for 3 or 4 family properties? It seems nearly impossible in higher cost markets like New Jersey.
Yeah, that definitely comes into play. And one of the things that I've seen come into play too is that on FHA, a seller can pay up to 6% closing costs. Again, it's got to appraise out for it. So, we've been razor thin on some deals in the past, and so you have that person buying the rate down and having the seller cover some of the closing costs to help buy the interest rate down. So, I mean, there's limits of how much you can buy the rate down, but my rule of thumb is always, if you pay a point, it's typically gonna lower the rate by 0.25%. So if you pay 2 points, you're maybe gonna lower the rate by 0.5%. So sometimes that comes into play. But yeah, that the self-sufficiency test that does make some deals challenging, because you're not gonna be able to cover the payment. The rents cover the payment.
That was a tough one when I was looking for my second house hack. But thank goodness the timing worked well, because right as I was starting to kind of look and make offers, that's when the conventional 5% down came out. And so, yeah, it's 1.5% more, but then you don't have to worry about the self-sufficiency test. And when you reach 20% equity, then the PMI will just drop off instead of having to be refinanced.
Back to so Brady is saying 0% would be a very risky position. If the market drops, you can get a tenant because too much competition, or you can't get a tenant maybe because too much competition. Values are lower and you are now underwater, so you can't even sell out of it. Ike wants to add in, you can have equity and need it, but it won't do you much good. Lenders always happy to lend to those that don't need a loan. When you actually need it, things get iffy. So I think maybe you want to touch on that a little bit, Joel. I mean, what are you seeing? What would you kind of agree to that, when maybe lenders tighten up, when actually the market conditions are different, and when people are need loans per se, it's harder to get?
Well, yeah, I mean, when someone's financial position is getting worse and they need the money, yeah, it's going to be harder to get a loan for sure. I didn't catch the first part of the question though.
No, they're just because they both commented earlier about kind of Brady thinking 0% would be a kind of a little risky position. No equity.
I don't understand what I saw that earlier. The 0% equity. I don't understand what they're talking about.
Well,
if who's giving a loan for equity?
No. Like, he's just saying, if you buy at a low 3.5% down, you're equity spread is very low at that point, and if the market goes down a little bit, you're underwater, right? Whereas if you put 20% down, you have a bigger margin there. So even if the market was to come down in value, you have that, technically 20% buffer, right? Whereas if you only put 3.5% down, you have a smaller margin there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing about it is that only matters if you're trying to sell it or refinance. So if you're getting the rents coming in, you're going to be okay just to hold it long term. And then also on FHA, if rates go down significantly, which doesn't look like they are going to anytime soon, but if they do go down significantly, you can do a streamlined refinance. Whereas on conventional, you have to get an appraisal and it has to appraise out high enough. So that's one advantage with FHA, at least on that first purchase.
Okay, so Gus says equity fake though, question mark. So I'm not sure if how he wants us to tackle that. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, because right now we're kind of in limbo. We're in no man's land with housing prices. I mean, there's such a small number of transactions going on. Prices aren't, I mean, some places they're going down, but they're kind of just all over the place. So until the market really starts to be more efficient, rates go, I mean, because we need rates to go down significantly, in my opinion. But yeah, right now, I mean, if you bought a house last year, you probably, if you're going to sell it, you're going to probably be losing money if you include commissions and fees. So I think that's what he's getting at with equity. Like if you bought a house in the last couple of years, like who knows what the value is going to be.
well, that's kind of what Billy just follows up later on. He says, I bought my first house in 2022. He said, like, what is equity? And then Brady wants to add in, gotta remember, equity is the wealth creator. And I think it was Coach Carson may have posted this on social media, talking about, I believe it was 80% of his wealth was created from equity and 20% cash flow. And then Zuber kind of reshared that post on X, but he added in that is true, but he needed that 20% cash flow to survive, basically. So you can't build that wealth if you don't survive getting to maybe 10 years, right? And the cash flow is what allows you to survive the ups and downs, right? So even though the cash flow is not the real wealth creator, it's going to get you to creating that wealth per se, I guess.
Yeah. I think it was like appreciation, right? Like we always want the appreciation, but we can't only purchase for it because we need to make it through at least the 10 years.
Let's see. Hey, Invest to Wealth is here. I see Lynn tuning in.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Like with rates going up in 2022, they basically doubled, right? So beginning of 22, rates went from 3% to 6%, 5.5%. And now rates are in the 6s and 7s. And the last 3 years, 23, 24, 25, now 26, the markets have been pretty flat or even in some places down. And I when I go backwards in time from like 2015 to 2019, it felt like the same thing, that the markets, yeah, they were appreciating slowly, but like at least for my portfolio, it wasn't until 2020 that we saw a lot of the appreciation happen that I was like, oh shit, this is actually working. Like it just felt like, okay, I'm just getting by. I'm covering my mortgage payments. I guess it's working. I don't even know. And then the market conditions change with COVID. Appreciation happens at a much higher rate. Oh, this is working. And I feel like that's kind of where we are now. Maybe you take, a 5, 7, 10-year period of just flatness, and all of a sudden market conditions change, and then we see the next cycle boom. It's kind of what I'm expecting.
I am not skipping over this question. People are text messaging me. I was just getting to, and Joe wanted to add something, so hold on. Lynn is asking, Curtis, now that you have a few rentals, when you get married in the future, will you get a prenup? Because Gus says we're trying to get him divorced with all the clips we're putting down here. But
no, I think it'd be wise to. A lot of the people that are ahead of me kind of all have advised that to be the case. And so I think it'd be unwise for me not to listen to those that have been there before. What that prenup is, I'm not quite sure. Hopefully, I'm marrying up into a rich family, and so we'll kind of see on how that goes. But no, I think it's wise too.
I know Joe doesn't want to touch that question, but Billy, yeah, Billy says, maybe you can clarify or confirm this. He says you can't ever remove PMI from a new 3.5% down FHA loan at any LTV loan to value.
Unless it's a 15-year fix, I believe it can go down. But yeah, that is accurate. So it's like, yeah, your PMI never goes away, but then if you refinance along the way and have more equity, you can refinance into conventional and get rid of PMI. So I mean, and also the rates are lower on FHA, all things being equal, than conventional. So definitely a factor.
I see you say good morning to Victor. Hey, big Cody Evers is here. And Craig Parsons says, but if you are 0% down, if you buy well under market value.
Oh, I think he's saying like if you buy under the market value, you're still gonna have equity in the property. Bought it at a discount. Yeah.
Hey, Janitor on Fire. Yeah, sorry about Janitor on Fire is a big fan of Dr. Joe. We had technical difficulties yesterday, so like I said, we are going to be live streaming Gus and I with Dr. Joe tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So Janitor on Fire, tune in tomorrow. But he also adds in he wants me or try to get a one-on-one with Dr. Joe. Let's see. Brady says, "Yep, cash flow is the foundation. Equity is what builds up to the sky." Janitor on Fire adds, he added in, where did he say? Always buy before marriage. And then he follows up with, if it's true love, she won't have a problem signing a prenup.
Well, you both have sons, so at some point they're going to have this conversation with. What's your advice going to be to your boys?
Don't get married. No. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely go the prenup route, or like they said, right? I think how is it positioned? If you don't do a prenup, the state will give you one, right? Or whatever, Basically, there's one in place already. You just it's so you might as well put your own in place, right? To some extent. So definitely, I would go down that route. That'll be my take. I don't know if Joe wants to add in on that or anything. Kanye had a bar or two about this regarding a prenup for Curtis.
That is true. Yeah.
Janitor on Fire says you have to refi to get rid of PMI. Okay. Cody Evers says some local banks, credit unions only need 10% down to get no PMI.
Yeah, there's some in our area that also offer that, or they'll offer a refinance with no PMI too. But I'm always curious when places offer that. I'm wondering where they're getting their money from. Like, is there an additional fee, or if it's just in-house for funding, or what?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. It's in-house. They're gonna put it on their portfolio so they can kind of do what they want to do. But sometimes they run out of funds. Sometimes when they have too big of a portfolio already on books, then they'll course correct by increasing rates substantially to account for the extra risk. So and there's a program as an example called HPAP. It's a down payment assistance program in DC, and we're talking buy a $500,000 house, $700,000 house, and you can get up to $180,000 of down payment money from the program, which is massive. So you got to go through all the steps. It takes months to be able to get approved, but then they run out of money. I just had one that popped up where they were under contract, and then things got delayed, and then now they can't close, and they have to reapply in October. So it's like
Oh.
some of these programs you just don't know like how readily available they're going to be. Is it going to be available? All that stuff.
All right, so there's some great questions I see coming in. So one is Lynn going to sign one with her real estate, sign a prenup when she gets married? And Lynn adds in she's not getting married. Marlon RE adds in, I have a FHA. It is now past 20% paid off. The PMI dropped off at the 20% as expected. Okay.
Yeah, but then that might mean that you was that when did you get that loan? I think it was like 2016, 2018 where they put the rules in place where
So Billy, so I'll just jump in. So Billy added in, he added in a little bit down. He says for FHA loans originated pre 2013, that's the case. I'm trapped in a 2022 loan and need rates under 4.75% to refi the PMI off.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I'm probably going to pay PMI for the life of the loan.
Haven't JJJJ haven't seen here. Thanks for stopping by. Curtis and Joe are also live streaming also, so definitely check their channels out. But what do you guys use for expenses when underwriting single family homes? Is 30% a good percentage for CapEx, vacancy, and repair? Would you use the same percentage for up to a 4-unit?
I don't buy single family homes. They don't make sense where I buy as of right now. But the folks that I do follow, they say they use a 35%. And they've used that for single family up to a fourplex. For the mobile home park or apartment building folks, they use 40%. But I think those are kind of safe numbers.
Joel, you have anything to add before?
I mean, I'm going to use a smaller percentage on single family than multifamily for sure. When I'm underwriting a deal up front, yeah, I just back of the napkin, I use 40%, but that 40% includes taxes and insurance on the way that I do it, and that will kind of get you in the ballpark. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest struggle for most people that are newbies is underestimating expenses, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think 30% is probably a solid number to use. I mean, there's so much other factors come into play, right? I mean, so for example, like Pittsburgh, you do have a lot of older inventory, older properties. So you do have to probably account for, having more repairs, CapEx type stuff come up. So that might be why you want to have a higher percentage. When you start, depends how you might handle certain things. Multifamily, you're going to have to consider how the lawn or yard's taken care of, who handles that, how the utilities split, right? So that's why some people, they prefer staying in the duplex or single family homes, because a lot of times the expenses or utilities are split. As you get bigger than that, sometimes it's harder to account for how the expenses or water bills are handled, or if they're separated, things like that. So, but yeah, I think 30% is probably a safe space to stay in. But it also comes down to how much overall reserves you have too, right? So I think that's a big factor in it. Lynn says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cody Evers adds in, something to watch out for. A lot of banks need you to pay down to 65% on a duplex to remove PMI. Interesting. Is that a duplex or just small multi? I mean, I would assume that's small multi, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, we probably screen our tenants better than we do our dating partners or spouses or what. So Chris adds in, or you have a great screening process for a wifey. Stick to your criteria, right? So that's we keep joking about it. Maybe we should come up with that app though, right? That has like credit score involved, net worth, what you're asked, right? So as a dating app, you have to input all this information. Marlon says my FHA was originated 2010. Hey, Janelle's here. Janelle keeps avoiding me when I ask her about jumping on the live stream. So,
To that point, though, I was seeing this gal once, and I had a vacancy, and so we were kind of talking about like how I'm going to fill it or whatever.
what'd you say?
Huh?
Vacancy. I thought you
Yeah,
said nakedcy.
No. And so we were talking about like, oh, like how are you going to fill the unit or whatever? And then I was talking to like, oh, I just use Himlin or whatever, and she's like, oh, well, what's your criteria? And I'm like, it's 700 credit score, verifiable income, and no previous evictions. And then she turns and looks at me and she goes, I wouldn't qualify to live up there. And so I thought that was pretty funny. That was a great conversation of, oh, well, what is your credit score? It was abysmal.
So are we gonna do the speed dating next year in Vegas? Remember we were talking with
No, you can't do it. It's all dudes.
That is true. Yeah. I think that's Charlie. I'm not sure. Charm 71297. Curtis, PMI is about to outlast 80% of marriages. Right. Hey, you know what? So today will be meet the school member Joel. So Joel is in school and maybe he doesn't talk about it enough or what Gus is asking. Does Joel have investment? So Joel, tell everyone quickly who you are.
Yeah, so I got into mortgage in 2006. I built a portfolio along the way, and I call it the stair step method. So buy one property, live in it for a couple of years, save up by the next one, and then turn the other one into rental. So I did that 3 or 4 times. Got into some multifamily in the mid 20 teens and got to about 16 doors. And then got into stuff in Florida, also Missouri, and then tried to build a subdivision in Florida. That did not go well. Got divorced, and then basically sold everything. So I'm in a rebuilding phase in terms of real estate. So going back to the prenup, should have done a prenup.
Mark, I think
You
you're
lost
muted,
your audio.
Shit, sorry, I'm trying to share your guys' stuff while I'm talking, but I had myself no, because I don't like all the typing, the clicking background. It's weird what people complain about on YouTube. Hold on, where's that?
Hey, the comments are good for the algorithm, good or bad.
I don't know. Gus is not good for my algorithm, that's for sure. No, Gus is a great guest. I love having him on. I really don't know what is going on right now with my algorithm. Like I throw out.
You're not canceled yet, so that's a good thing.
I might as well be. I put out reel. It gets like 5 views now. I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
On Instagram?
No. On YouTube, the shorts. Like I all my like payment maybe like my last 10 or 15 shorts. I mean, everything's just under like 20 views. Probably everything. It's weird.
The same thing happened to me. I was putting out stuff, getting 1,000 views, 800 views, and all of a sudden just boom, 1 view, 2 views, 5 views. Shadow banned? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Brady's adding in. I wouldn't combine them. For CapEx, I have a calculator, not a percentage. For repairs, it usually runs about 3 to 5% for me because I build new. Vacancy in my market, I will use about 5% for a conservative estimate. Awesome. Thanks so much. Cody, he said he mentioned duplex, but yeah, small multi 2 to 4. He was talking about I think pay down to 65%. Brady's saying I'd love to see how that first date goes. Hey, Joe V is here. What's up, man? How's it going? Joe V said he's gonna be in Vegas in January. He might have to hold Max's hand because Max is not very responsible. Joe has to wake up Max every Monday for the accountability call. So, and Max is the one that didn't catch his flight back from Vegas and had to drive back.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Let's see.
Isn't he a helicopter pilot as well?
Mechanic.
Mechanic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harrison saying, remember, Mark Curtis is a health teacher.
Oh, I think that's talking about when you misheard vacancy for
naked scenes or what? Yeah. Joe V says not making enough fire. Yeah, maybe that's why my algorithm. Maybe I
Yeah. So speaking of firefighter jokes, Mark, can you tell us more about you being the tunnel rat?
I'm just a small guy. That's all it is. So, oh yeah. So everyone, if you haven't seen Emily's recent clip she put out on social media, what did she say? The out-of-state client, right? May have not provided her keys or something, right? So essentially, the unit was locked and she didn't have keys. So I think she went through the door. What's it called?
The doggy door.
The door. She went through that. Was able to like reach up. So she's like sideways, reaching up and unlocking the door. So that's how she got in. But she filmed herself doing that, and yeah. So I commented on that because so every time there's something like that type of thing, like, if we had a emergency call or something to respond to, if there's a situation where it's like in a space like that, then it's I'm like the smallest guy in the truck, right? So that's like my responsibility kind of thing. So let's see. Brady says YouTube channel algorithm changes algorithm time to time. It's kind of typical to see that happen once in a while. Yeah. Josh Burdick says, so you're Josh, I did not tell him you sent me that picture, but now you've thrown yourself out there. So Josh is saying, I feel bad for razzing Gus about his ring light. So someone said Gus looked like a minion with his goggle, the ring light on his glasses. Hey, Bill O'Connell, man, what are you? Bear fans should be canceled. What?
Thank you, Bill.
They're not going to be canceled anytime soon because they're going to be really good this year, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Do you know the funny thing is now that there's so much people that stop me because of my hat? Bears fan. Like, yeah, I grew up in Chicago. Like, people want to talk to you about it now, but before people didn't want to admit they were from Chicago or admit they're a Bears fan. Like Curtis, he's kind of in the closet about being a Bears fan. Gus is saying, Curtis, watch it. He's going to start blaming you.
Yeah, there's a trend with Mark and who he blames.
Janelle says, team prenup. Protect what each person brings into a marriage. What you build together should be shared. If it's really about the commitment, why not skip the marriage license and have a spiritual ceremony? Wait, protect what each person brings.
There's a lot that goes into that one comment. I mean, like you said, if you don't have one, then the state's gonna force a prenup. Essentially, they're gonna take it into their own hands, whether you do that or not. But like the fact that people are getting married later in life on average than 10, 15 years ago, I think causes to become even more of a conversation. I mean, if you're 25 and have nothing, like there's no prenup, there's nothing to split or take. But if you're getting married at 35 and you got 3 properties on both sides, like that's a win in my book. If you've got some properties to bring into the equation into a marriage, but yeah. So if you have both sides bring stuff to the table, that's huge. That's not always the case, but to me, that would be a win just to even have the conversation at that point.
Yeah, and I think depending on your state, if you just do the ceremony, but you still lived together, in some states there might be like a common law thing where if you live together for a certain amount of time, so
yeah,
might as well just sign the docs.
Yeah, so Janelle trying to get her on to share her story. She doesn't want to join Gus and I, or even the Wednesday one, but Christine, who's in the school community, she'll be live streaming with us on Thursday next week. I think that's her only day off, so we'll get Christine.
What market is she in?
She is in Georgia now. She was in Florida for a little bit, I think. So she has a property in Florida. She has she's in Georgia now with a property. But I believe she's from California initially,
Okay.
but she's in Georgia, I think, for her parents are in Georgia, and I think her grandma's like 90 something. She was saying, but I think I don't want to say too much, but I think ultimately she's going to be living abroad, kind of thing. But currently she's in Georgia, but she's going to join us there. And I think she posted in school she's going through an eviction right now and things like that. So she's definitely in that kind of 5 years of suck. So I think it'll be an interesting story to kind of hear. Flavio is saying, what? There's no ads coming on my live stream? Something's going on. Something's wrong. Jovi says, cheering for the Hammond hamsters. The funny thing though is like every person that stops me and starts talking about Chicago Bears, they don't even care if the Bears leave, because they're like, Hammond is like right across the street, basically. So it's like that close. They're like, they're not. It's not a big deal for them. I think for people that maybe aren't from Chicago or don't know, they're like, what? Chicago's gonna pick up, or the Bears are picking up, but it's like basically like 10 steps away, kind of thing. They're trying to say, yeah. James says in Tennessee, if you live together for 3 years, you are legally married and everything becomes common.
Oh no! At 2.5 years, we got to split up for a little bit. We got to reset the clock.
Lynn says common law marriages are BS. Hey, Brady said, see, Brady's getting 3. Oh, maybe Flavio. You know why? Flavio was on Cody and Justin were live streaming earlier. They live stream on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific also. So they must have just finished up because Flavio likes to jump over there and then come over here after. Let's see. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on this topic, or throw up another clip, or what do you, I mean, so initially, what would you guys say though? I mean, ultimately buying before you get married is the route to go. I mean, that's what you guys kind of would.
Sorry. Harrison sent me a text.
Take a look at it right after this.
No, I think you should buy before you get married for sure, but I also can recognize that some people may need either dual income to qualify, or like depending on what a market, right? If you're in Pittsburgh where the average house is $100,000 or whatever, okay, well you probably come up with 3.5%. But if you're in like LA or New York where it's like really expensive, I could see the argument for waiting and combining the incomes.
Well, okay, so Curtis, you're in your late 20s. I forget how old are you?
Yeah, I turn 28 next month.
So the people that you come across that are in a similar age bracket, I mean, what's their take on buying houses, waiting, doing it? Like, what are people doing in your network? That are not investors, just people buying houses in general.
Yeah, if they're like what I would refer to as like normies, like normal people, then they typically buy when they get married or like engaged is what I've been seeing. If they're single, they might get like a condo or something. But a lot of them are actually kind of shocked.
So are you saying most people are renting?
Yeah, most probably rent, and then the next tier up from that would probably be like condo if they're single, and then if they're or married, they want like a home. I think the idea of like this is our home has grown, and the cost of a single family home in our area is a lot for if you're just going to live there by yourself. It's like it's cheaper to just rent.
All right, hold on. Let me let me bring this up. I before hold on. Let me see. Let me do this real quick. I can do it. Hold on. Where's the image thing? Damn it. Oh, there. Gus, I had nothing to do with this.
Oh, jeez.
So this all started because there was a comment on one of Gus's videos. Someone was just recommending Gus to move his ring light because it reflects off his glasses. So when you see Gus on his videos or streams or whatever, you can see like his glasses has the ring lights on it almost. And then someone commented that Gus looks like a minion. And now I'm getting all these pictures sent to me about Gus as a minion. But we'll put that on a shirt. We'll definitely have Frank work on a shirt with Gus like that. Let's see.
I think on the shirt you need the Ninja Turtle one and the Minion.
All right. Hold on. Let's get to Delroy's comment question real quick. So Delroy is in the school community. He's also has a interview with Curtis on Curtis's channel, and he's been on the live stream. But he says most people I know are scared to buy investment properties, and most normal people try to buy the dream house. 32 years old, most are renting.
Yeah. I think especially I know where Delroy is too. It's a higher cost area, so financially, it can look like it's better to rent because of that monthly price. But when you start to look at the math of like the duplex and the triplex and just house hacking, then the cost actually starts to go down less than the renting.
Yeah, I think I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I think after I thought about, I think you and Gus asked me this question, or it was kind of on our live stream last week, and it kind of came up about biggest financial mistakes kind of thing or something. And I think after I thought about it, I would definitely agree to kind of that what Delroy's talking about. I think if I bought a smaller home, right, or was smarter about it and not, I definitely would be even further ahead or in a better position, even though I'm in a great position now, being in a much better position. But I think that is the biggest thing. Sometimes people buy their dream home too early, or just a home that is bigger than they need, right? And they don't realize just the sacrifice, and that it's easier to get to a certain point or financial freedom point by not spending that money on a bigger home early, right?
I mean, like talking about the house hacking thing. I mean, talking about being like, what's the saying? I'm blanking on what it is, but just you're the rare bird kind of a thing. If you're in your early 20s,
Whoa! Don't say bird. Curtis is like flinching right there.
Diamond in the rough is the saying I was trying to think of. But I mean, the average age of a first-time home buyer is 40 years old now. So if you're 25 and you can put yourself into a position to buy a house at 25, like you're so rare. And clearly you're going to have renters to rent out your rooms because everybody's renting. So it seems like there's just a massive opportunity for the younger kids to be able to do it, scratch and claw. But like, I'm just thinking of a couple of kids I know that are in their 20s, and they stay with their parents until they bought their duplexes. And so they were just saving all kinds of money. And so they had the down payment part figured out. And now they're rocking and rolling. They're on the second and third ones. So
yeah, I think that's a good difference though, because we actually see the age of that people are staying home longer, right? Like into the late 20s. We're starting to see that age of folks that don't leave home, which I'm not hating on folks that still like live at home, but it sounds like the people that actually put it to good use, right? They're on their next duplex. But I feel like if we took the shame out of it and was like, hey, just live at home, how long, if you had no bills, you might have like a student loan or car bill, but if you don't have any major big bills, how quick can you actually save up a down payment, And so for most people, it's probably a year, 2, okay, 3 max, just depending on what price point, but that should be pretty easy to do.
Yeah, but again, you have to kind of going back to the comment earlier about not seeing people, not seeing enough of the content about house hacking. It's out there, but just people aren't seeing it or not. It's not resonating with them. They don't care. It's out there. It's out there a lot.
Lynn is saying this is why my channel gets no views. All the AI generated images. People always ask me what I'm trying to do here, and I keep telling them it's just fun. It's just fun. Shooting the shit with you guys, and hopefully we provide good information also. But it's just having fun already. I mean, I just
we need, Mark. We need to get like a Rolodex of all the AI generated images. Like make a flip book, make one flip book, and bring that book to ORAT next year in Vegas.
Oh, there's Jen. We gotta ask Jen. Buy before you get married. So Jen, I'm sure she's happily married with Kenny, but would if they could go back, I don't know. I'm not sure actually if they bought before they got married, but what would she do about that in her prenup? But Billy's saying, I used to not understand the impact of house hack. It sounded like a little side money, not a first step. Didn't see it as necessary.
Mm. I love that. Because yeah, a first step. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and depending on how you house hack, it could not only be a small step, it could be a huge step, right? Like if you're able to actually get money every month for where you live versus having to pay, I think that's a huge win. Majority of people have to pay, but if you can set up your house hack or however you're going to do it, that way you're actually net positive. I think that is really more than just a small step.
Yeah, Billy says your parents not giving you the boot at 17 is a gift. Take advantage of it. Janelle adds in live at home, but save. If you're not saving, it's time to go.
Yeah, I think we actually talked about this a little bit when Gus was on and Mark was trying to rage debate us, but uh, in different cultures and there's different views and family with like the values of who's allowed to stay at home and parents give in the boot or parents to let you stay, and I think that's a huge up if your family dynamic is set up in a way that you can stay there for longer. Like Thatch Nguyen, big real estate guy. He didn't leave the home until he was already a millionaire. He had did 9 house hacks without leaving his mom's house. So I think there's a power in that too.
Yeah, and Gus kind of likes to talk about, right, is maybe where his thoughts have changed a little bit over the years. Maybe before you have kids, you kind of think like, oh, I'm gonna be tough. I'm gonna kick them out as soon as they turn 18 and they're on their own. They're gonna figure out life and all this stuff. And then Gus, as time goes on, he kind of is like, is that the best route, right? You start kind of evaluating things. I mean, yeah, you want to teach them certain things, but you also want to provide them tools and resources that's available. So why should they be starting at zero? Also, if you can provide them something, right? So yeah, definitely something you got to think about. But I think definitely, I think would you guys prefer? I think Janelle mentioned saving. I think I'd rather go the route of they're paying me rent, maybe not market rent, but they're paying me rent, so they get in the habit of having to make this type of payment monthly, right? And yeah, you can keep that money on the side for a different account for them or whatever that they can use as a down payment later. But them getting in the habit of knowing that they don't have this money available to them, right? And getting in the habit of having to pay something monthly, right? In that routine, like if you skip a month, you're out, right? Kind of thing. But just in that habit of paying, right? Jen, go ahead.
I don't have kids, but I'm probably the most recent to be in this spot compared to you two. And so when I lived at home for a year and a half to 2 years after college, I don't know if it was my mom either not knowing or she trusted me so much, but she didn't have me pay rent. She didn't even check if I was saving money. I told her I was, right? I guess at the end of 2 years, it may have been obvious that I was or was not, right? But we didn't really cross that bridge because at 2 years, I bought my duplex. But I don't know if I would take the money or if I would just trust them or have them show me their savings. I'm not really sure with what I would do there if I was on the parent side.
Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like the saving part of it. I mean, a lot of times parents will have like a joint account, like especially if they get them started earlier. And so like if a parent's got access to the account and sees the money, again, that may not be the right thing for every kid, or every kid will want to. I never did that. I always had my own accounts, starting at 18. But I guess if a parent can see the money going into their account and they're saving money, that's one thing. But yeah, like the physical transfer of the money, like that hits you, right? I mean, like money is going out the door. Like you don't have it anymore. Like I can see that having a positive impact on the kid. But yeah, I mean, as long as they're saving money somehow, some way, like that's the important thing. But yeah, there's different ways to skin a cat, I guess. But I do like the idea of like the money transferring out of their account and they can't see it. Like it's no longer there. No, go make some more money.
Well, yeah. I think it's just the habit of knowing that there's responsibilities monthly, right? Like you have bills and there's things that have to get paid right before you do anything else, right? So
Yeah.
it's just that habit and mindset of seeing that there's a payment being made. Yeah, we'll wrap things up soon, but let me just get through some of these final comments. And
Oh, can
everything.
we just touch on Gus's LeBron comment?
Yes, and if anyone wants a picture that was posted of Gus as a minion, let me know and I'll send you a direct copy of it, or I'll just post it in school and you can down. I mean, I'll just throw it on Instagram maybe. And you guys can copy it off of that. Oh, but Gus is asking, where did he say it? Oh, here. LeBron is like Dion, or Dion's like LeBron maybe, but he can choose where he wants to go.
Mm.
You want to touch on that? You said, Joel.
I mean, in theory, yes. Now, no. I mean, like, not all teams want him. I mean, regardless of, even if it was at the veteran minimum, there's going to be some teams that wouldn't even want him on their team just because, I mean, he's 41. He's going to bring a certain level of drama.
Joel, I can't believe that you just said that.
So what?
You think if he was on the veteran minimum, a team would say no?
Yeah, I do.
No,
I think there's a couple teams out there that would say no.
That's just outrageous. That's just outrageous.
Okay, wait. Before we move on this, or keep talking about this, where do you guys have a thought on where he's going to end up?
I mean, he should go to Miami. That's my take.
Yeah, I think probably Miami. I can see. Yeah.
So Zuber actually touched. I don't know if you guys saw, but Zuber did touch on this. I think the other day on his daily financial, he mentioned, whatever. There's, maybe 5 teams that are in the running. Blah blah blah. If he wants a ring, he should go to. I forgot what he said. If he wants to end, playing with the Warriors would be good, right? But he but Zuber says he thinks LeBron should go to San Antonio with Wemby.
Oh yeah,
and play for a ring. But let me see. Jen Tam does say yes, we bought before getting married. Kenny was afraid we'd break up, but I told him let's buy, and if we split, we could rent and split the profit. Yasik says you're a unicorn today. My ads are going crazy. Jen says seize every opportunity that comes your way and have provisions if things don't work out. That's my thought process. Josh Burdick adds in, my wife already had a starter house when we met. I remodeled the bath, kitchen, and painted the whole thing. Then we got married. Let's see. Gus is like, team don't want him? What? He said Joe is capping. That means I told Gus messaged me when he met. I'm like, I need certain type. How the new AirPods have like translation. So it can translate Flavio for me, right? So now it's for Flavonese, and I need it to translate Gusanese. He messages me shit. I'm like, what are you saying? Like,
no, man. It's just you being old.
Did you guys see who's the guy that did the ESPYs? Marcelo something or other.
Well, I don't know.
The guy from Saturday Night Live. You guys see the ESPYs?
No.
Who watches it?
Yeah. I know Ryan Clark got fired. I was trying to find a clip that was to talk about
there's
that.
like a clip where he's talking about like, the Gen Z talk like cap and all these like Gen Z slang words. It's like, yeah, all these Gen Z words are, it doesn't even matter. I don't want to cancel your channel. I'm going to skip it. Never mind.
Okay, well, yeah, Gen Z. This is very important. Asian culture wants their kids to live with them until they're 35 at minimum, if not longer. None of them kick them out at 18. Yeah, that definitely is I think there was a clip on that too. Like someone was talking about, why, you look at the Asian community culture, maybe they're doing better than others, or doing fairly well, but a lot of it too, they have this certain mindset too, right? It's coming together, and you know, living at home longer is not a negative type of thing, right? It's to help build wealth, right? And um, so let's see. That's all I really. I mean, Joe is low. Joe is low key begging Bron come to Golden State because they aren't going to the playoffs. That's like I think Gus and I mentioned it yesterday. I mentioned it to Gus yesterday, where I put stuff on Facebook. It could relate to real estate or taxes or whatever, and it does okay. It gets decent amount, but I put one out there about basketball, and it was like create your ultimate lineup with this dollar values, and that thing had like whatever 30,000 views or 60,000 views or something, and it's like 500 comments, and it's just funny where people kind of focus their time and spend their time, right? So I think it's very eye-opening.
I know. And that was on Facebook, you said? 30,
yeah.
30,
so that one, and actually the one I posted about taxes, property taxes, definitely caused a stir. I think it might be close to 100,000 views right now. It you definitely do see the kind of divide, and it's always going to be a struggle with different generations, right? Everyone has a different viewpoint of where they're at. That's why, right? So of course, people are trying to say, well, why am I at this age, and why am I still paying this much property taxes? And the younger generations, well, you got to pay for the road, so it's definitely eye-opening to see where people are, where they're at, how they view certain things, right? So but very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because like really there's nothing that they can really do. Like they could maybe argue their tax bill goes down a little bit, but one complaint's not going to change everything. And so it's just so fascinating what people focus on. Did you just now see it? You're muted, Mark.
I share this one before I wrap things up. Hold on, let me try share it. All right, you guys can talk real fast. Let me share this last picture that was sent to me. Hold on. Yo, you guys are supposed to talk, man.
oh, shoot. Joel, but are you seeing more and more people start to house hack as it gets more popular? Are you seeing like more applications for it, or no?
No. Like very, very seldom. I mean, in my opinion, as rates and prices have stayed where they are now, and less people are active, like this is the time to go find deals, I think, and also for young kids to be able to get in the game and have a plethora of renters. I'm not seeing anybody do it. Very, very seldom am I seeing it. And I think the media probably has a factor in that too. I mean, there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, but I don't know.
So yeah, before we wrap things up, like I said, be on the lookout for Gus's episode Behind the Doors. He has some heavy hitters on his recent one. I got Zuber, Rod Khleif. I'll be live streaming tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, with Gus and Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe.
Who is Dr. Joe again? Who is that?
God dang it, Joe! You don't know. No, so Gus actually helped him get on Zuber's channel. Dr. Joe also was on a panel on Gus's channel. I was involved in that one. But Dr. Joe has been on Bigger Pockets. He's in the DC area. That's right. So he does Section 8. He's been doing it for he believes in tier 1 tenants. So he does high-end Section 8. And so yesterday when we were troubleshooting, we were talking, we were trying to figure out his mic issue and everything. But it's interesting how he was very grateful to be on Zuber's channel, get interviewed, and he likes Zuber's message. Definitely one rental at a time. Whatever. 5 years of suck, get to 10 years kind of thing. But his biggest thing he wanted to add into that, and he'll probably touch on it more tomorrow, is that it's not just getting to 10 years. Well, it is, but it's surviving. He notices that a lot of people, they quit, right? They're not able to survive it, whether it's something in their portfolio doesn't allow them to continue, and that's also why he's very big on Section 8, because it's like guaranteed money. And he believes in, he's talked about having tenants stay in his place 30 years, 15 years kind of thing, and it's all about keeping the vacancies low, right? The tenant turnover low. So he's very big on Section 8 because it's guarantee money. But we'll definitely discuss that more tomorrow, Gus and I, on the live stream. But I'll share this last photo sent to me. Let's see here. Let me bring it up last. We'll wrap it up with this.
Just wrong.
Oh, not sure if everyone can see that, but so Gus, somehow you were thrown in on this one on the live stream
Mark with
episode.
hair. Okay.
But yes, that is all right. So yeah, fun.
Who did that?
I'm not gonna throw names out there, but if anyone wants a copy, let me know and I'll send you one. But it's always fun. It's always, like I said, Lauren is gonna step away for a few weeks. She's got a lot on her plate right now. So Curtis is gonna fill in until school is back in session. So
Oh, no shit.
Yep.
All
you
right,
do,
let's
you
go.
do not read any messages I send to you, do you?
Dude, if you knew the shit that's on my plate.
But yeah, so Lauren's gonna step away for a few weeks, and so Curtis is. I'm glad Curtis is willing to step up and jump on for a few weeks until school gets back in session.
All right, Curtis, what can we do to maximize the Wacky Wednesday? What can we do next week to like ramp it up a little bit?
Get
Well,
Janelle on. Janelle, Flavio,
Janelle
one of you
on,
need to
yeah,
step up. One of
Flavio.
you need to step up.
We do need to get Flavio needs to get on.
He says we need to pay him.
Just give him a free month of your membership.
That means I need to create a membership.
No, I have. It's
No,
$199. Yeah. But yeah, Janelle, Flavio, we'll see one of you next week. Like I said, Christine will be Thursday. Still trying to figure out who's gonna join me on that one though. But yeah, Janelle says 30 years on Section 8 is wild, definitely. So
Yeah.
give you. I'm sure you guys probably seen him on Zuber's channel and on Gus's Behind the Doors, but he's very big on the tenant relationship. So he buys like flowers, Mother's Day bouquets. He sends Christmas presents to his tenants. He's all about keeping them in the units, right? And so he's very big on that. So shit, I think he said one of his units is like $7,000, the Section 8.
Cool.
Yeah,
Like,
he's probably got
yeah.
like 6 bedrooms in there.
Yeah. Well,
Did
so that's also part of his thing. So we yes, he does Section 8, but he's very, he has his buy box, but what he looks for is how he can add an extra bedroom, right? Because Section 8 is based on bedroom count, right? So that's how he increases the value or rent, right?
Did he say what city?
He's in DC, so he's in an expensive market. Yeah.
Well, people say DC, but like that could be Arlington, Virginia. It could be Prince George's County, Maryland. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Look, you can ask
I'll
him that
watch the
tomorrow
video.
on the live stream. Exactly. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I have a lot more clips that we didn't dig into, but always fun, man. I think, yeah, definitely. I think most people will probably, yeah, if you can buy before you get married, definitely that is probably the path to go if you can house hack. But definitely, yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for Curtis, but I mean, I think Joe and I will definitely agree. Maybe having someone on the same vision, and I know visions change and goals change in maybe in a relationship, but I think getting that in the beginning and finding someone that kind of has the same visions as you could probably make the relationship last a lot longer, or be in a better situation, I would say. But
Maybe we need to make like a dating service for real estate people. Vibe code that shit, make it happen. Let's do it.
Good luck.
I talked to a connect with the meme. Wait, what? I got you. What? All right. Well, I don't know.
I think you're already saying he figured out.
I need
who
to know what Gussanese is. I don't know what he's saying. I'm trying to figure out what
he knows who the meme person is. The meme layer.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you want, Dr. Joe does go live every Wednesdays on his social media platforms. I believe he does 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to check him out, you can also ask him questions. But if not, Tune in tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Gus and I will be with Dr. Joe. And yeah, thank you guys for doing this. And I'll see you fellas next week.
Cool. See you.
Cool. See you guys.